ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to author, therapist, speaker, and true inspiration, Dr. Sean Stephenson.
I was 12 years old when I first heard this song come onto the television. You may have heard it before. It goes something like this. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. You guys know what that is? Hail to the Chief. When do they play Hail to the Chief? When the President of the United States comes out. So I'm 12 years old at the time. I am in my living room, I am watching the television, and I see this man come out on stage, and everybody just jumps to their feet and starts applauding. And I'm thinking, I gotta have that job. I have to be the President of the United States. So I went to school that morning, and the next morning, and I went to all my teachers, and I said, I am going to be the President of the United States. Do you think they said, yes, you are? Do you think they said that, yes or no? No. You know what they said? They said, oh, sweetie. Pump the brakes. I mean, maybe like a congressman. Just stay away from Twitter. You'll get that. Let it soak in. So I start showing up, and I'm telling everybody, I'm going to be the President of the United States. You hear this? And I start going around, well, there's some things I had to learn. I can never catch that guy face on. Anyway, there's some things, yeah. Okay, I get distracted at work just like you, all right? Ooh, so I'm supposed to be a professional, so are you. Anyway, but... So, I'm telling everybody I'm going to be the president. Well, there's some things I had to learn, right? I had to learn that you got to be 35 years old. So I had some time, right? I had this time. I learned that you have to understand geography and economics and human relationships. You got to know how to pay people off. There's just a lot you got to know to be president of the United States. Finally, I get to college. And I'm telling everybody still that I'm going to be president of the United States. But I thought, you know, Sean, you got to take that vision. You got to make it more real. You got to get people believing in this. You got to get some traction on this goal. And if you're going to live at the White House, you need to go work at the White House. Check out the decorating, right? So I applied to work at the White House. And I remember the day the envelope came to tell me whether or not I had been selected to work in the White House. By a raise of hands, now this is not television, I can actually see you, okay? So, by a raise of hands, who have ever received a letter or a telephone call that the response would change the course of your life? Just raise your hand. Okay, so you had that moment. It's that moment where you open it up and you go, I'm not the father, I'm not the father, I'm not the father. Okay, like you're all angels. Anyway, So I'm holding this envelope, right, up to my nose, like my nose is going to tell me the truth. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I open up this envelope, and it reads out, it says, congratulations, Sean Stephenson. You have been selected to work in the White House alongside of the President of the United States. You'll be reporting for duty in 2 months. We look forward to seeing you. Now, I'll take it. Now, I'm excited, right? Now, the first day, I remember my first day of being at work. I was going up and down the halls thinking, wow, some of the most powerful leaders in our history have been in this very spot. And I'm thinking about Abraham Lincoln and Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He wheeled his wheelchair in this very spot, and John F. Kennedy, and some of the most powerful people. You know, I wouldn't put that plant there, but it's not my house to move it anyway. And there was something I loved about working at the White House. What I loved is when the president would come home from being overseas out of the country, he would land his Air Force One at Andrews Air Force Base. And then to get from the Air Force Base over to the White House, he wouldn't just take like a SUV or a minivan like you and I would. He would land in a helicopter the size of a school bus. Speaking of school bus, where are my high school kids in the room? Anybody? Yeah, that's right. I see you. So anyway, so this thing is the size of a school bus, and it's dark green. It's got a bright white stripe at the top and a big American flag painted on the side and a propeller that you can hear coming for miles. And I'm thinking, Sean, you need to be in the backyard and greet the president when he comes home from work. I mean, what could go wrong? Don't get ahead of me. So the day comes, I'm looking at the president's schedule, looking at my schedule, and I realize it's time now. The time is now, Sean. So I took a look around to see if my superior was anywhere. Nope. So then I took a very official looking envelope that was blank on the inside, shoved it under my armpit, and I headed out. And I got to the south lawn entrance where the helicopter is now out in the distance. I see it. It's hovering about 10 feet off the ground. And I can hear this thing. And this 12-year-old boy that's still living inside of me, oh, he's excited. He's thinking, you got to get outside. You got to do this. Well, I'm looking around. Now, the good news is there's no one around to stop me, but the bad news is there's no one around to open the door for me. And there's no handicap buttons on the doors. You guys know what those handicap buttons I'm talking about? When you're holding lots of pizza, you hit it with your butt. It's not for you, anyway. And while I'm off topic, the handicap stall, not your personal dressing room. And you know who you are. Anyway. So I see these doors, and these doors are closed, right? And this 12-year-old boy needs to get outside, right? The little boy inside of me, come on, Sean, you can do this. So I thought, okay, Sean, you're in college now. You're an educated man. You can use something you learned called physics. You are 55 pounds of love. The wheelchair's another 20 pounds. You got 75 pounds that you can burst through these doors. You just need enough running room to get up to 88 miles per hour to burst through the time continuum. So I'm pumping up. I'm looking at these doors like they're linebackers, and I am a running back, and I got to get through these guys. I'm hitting my chest like, what? You got nothing, son? And I'm just, and I take off. Woom, 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 bam. I get outside. Now, what I was not expecting was the massive wall of wind that hit me in the face. Bam! And I'm getting blown back in, and I am pushing now, huffing, and I'm puffing, and I get outside, and I'm like, whew. Well, that wasn't too bad. Now I'm outside. Helicopter is landing. I look over to the corner, and I see a tree that's moving. And not the way the other trees are moving. I look a little closer. And I see 12 men in all black military fatigue climbing down ropes and running at me with submachine guns. Well, I'm glad you think that's funny. And I look down at my chest and I see little red laser dots. And I'm thinking, oh, that's not good. Now, I don't know if you're perceptually a little slow, but I can't run. But something inside of me just said, this is the emergency response team. If you get past the Secret Service, these guys shoot you on sight, Sean. Run, boy, run. And I took off towards the helicopter. And I get to the helicopter. The door swings open. The President of the United States steps out, and he looks at me. And that's when I realized something major. You better have a vision for your life. You better have a very clear picture what you want your life to look like. And if we could just boil down what your life is, it's 3 components. Your health, your wealth, and your relationships. For my students in the room, wealth is just your grades, your academics. In your life, you have to take care of all areas, but it starts with a vision that you have in your mind of what you're heading towards. I've now been a doctor and a therapist, traveling and working with patients and clients. And you know what I find is that when you sit most people down and you say, what do you want for your life? They'll go, I don't know, but I'll tell you what I don't want. I don't want to be fat. I don't want to be stupid. Don't want to be broke. Don't want to be lonely. Don't want to be divorced. Don't want to do. And you know what? They can tell me very clearly what they don't want. So guess what they end up getting? What they don't want. You talk to people that are very successful in many realms of the word, and you find, how did you get there? And they'll say, I knew exactly what I wanted. And I was very clear. Here's the thing, you have to have a vision for your life. Because life is going to challenge you. There are going to be doors closed in your face. Does that mean you're not supposed to have what's on the other side of the doors? I don't believe so. I think that the universe closes the doors not because we're not supposed to have what's on the other side, but it's testing us. How bad do you want that? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice to get there? And I have looked at my life and said, Sean, you're going to have closed doors, but you need to build up the momentum. You need to have that purpose and that vision so clear that no matter what somebody tells you, you're going to burst through those doors. But guess what? Even when you burst through those doors, it's not going to be easy even then. Because you're going to have people chasing you down. You're going to have the naysayers showing up. People telling you, that's not possible. You can't have that. You'll never. If I listened to the naysayers, I'd be dead. I can tell you this. When I was born, the doctors told my parents, Sean's not going to live to the next 24 hours of his life. Now, I am happy to report that 32 years later, all those doctors are dead, and I'm the only doctor left. Now, the doctors in the room are like, should I clap? That's weird. I don't know. Yikes. Whoa. I want to laugh. I'm not sure if I'll die anyway. If I listened to the naysayers, I wouldn't have the quality life that I have. If you go bust through the doors in your life and you get out the other side, you will meet the critics, the cynics, the skeptics. But I don't believe you should ever listen to a prediction that doesn't make you feel better. I'm not telling you to be delusional and not listen to what's going on in your life, but you do not have to put your mind on the worst case. As a doctor, I've spent time with individuals who have been given the prognosis of death with cancers. And the individuals, and it's not 100%, but it's a majority of individuals that have goals, that have visions, something to work towards, have motivation to stay alive. It's fascinating when a human being has a vision how they cannot be stopped, from Hitler to Martin Luther King. Every one of us has a vision, and it may be out of focus and time to put it into focus. And what is your vision of? Is the vision for you to be healthier, happier, more in love with your life? Or to be sad, angry, and more disappointed with how the world has let you down? Look, they told my parents I wasn't going to live. I got through that one. They said, Sean, you'll never get a job in mainstream America as a disabled person. I mean, how are they going to hire you? And so at a young age, I applied for many positions and got turned down over and over and over. So I said, that's fine. I'll go start my own company. And I have been self-employed since 17 years of age, and I've never had to report to anyone. Some of you guys are like, oh, I'm leaving today, Sharp, see ya. They said, Sean, you'll never find love. I mean, who's gonna fall in love with a little guy in a wheelchair? I mean, seriously. I'm happy to report that in 2012, I will be getting married to the woman of my dreams. Jessica Alba and I are doing very well, and my fiance Mindy and I have a blast together. We have so much fun together. Why? Because we have this clear vision for what we want for our relationship and for our lives. And in my health, I continue to work on my health. When the doctor said, Sean, you're going to always have back pain. We could give you a ton of surgeries and medications, but it's only, going to temporarily relieve it. It's going to be the way your life's going to be. You're going to have fractures. By the time I was 18, I had fractured over 200 times. Something as simple as sneezing would fracture a collarbone. I changed my diet, I changed my exercise routine, I changed my mentality about my condition, and I'm happy to report since I was 19 years old, I'm 32 now, I have not fractured a bone or had a day of back pain. But look, my success, it's fun to clap to and it's fun for you to think about, but what's really mattering here is, how did I get here? What did I do? What can you apply to your lives? Look, I'm not here today to tell you I know what you're going through. I don't. I don't have your background. I don't live in your body. I don't have your position in life. So I'm not an expert on you. I'm only an expert on one thing, and that's how to be me. And I do it well. I wake up every morning working on Sean, figuring out what does it take to get a quality life where I get up excited to be alive. I can tell you how I do it. You can apply it to your life if you choose. Or you can cross your arms and go, I like being miserable. Leave me alone, little man. I enjoy being in debt, 50 pounds overweight, and hating my husband. It works for me. I just need my coffee. Okay. So you either have a choice. You can listen or not. It's really up to you. I was exhausted in the beginning of my career because I thought I could change you. And you know what I've learned is that you can only change yourself. So what did I do? What did I do to get here? How did I create the life that's a dream life? Well, the biggest thing is I paid attention to something inside my head, something that lives inside of your head. Every human being has it. We have a 5-year-old kid that lives inside of our mind. Then we have different medical terms and clinical terms for that 5-year-old kid. We call it our unconscious mind, right? There's so many different words and terms that we use to describe it, but it's just a 5-year-old kid. That inner dialogue or self-talk, you know that you have a 5-year-old kid in your head right now, and it's going, I don't have a 5-year-old kid. That's weird. It's kind of cold. This seat's not very comfortable. What time does this end? That kid's like, ha ha ha, what? 5-year-old child living inside of you. Now, here's the question. How are you treating that 5-year-old child? Are you loving? Are you tearing it down? And the question is, what do you say to yourself each day? As a therapist and a doctor, I found that most individuals are so hard on themselves. If you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourselves, you wouldn't have any. The words you say are so destructive and toxic. It's got to change. Well, how did we get here? How do we beat ourselves up? Why do we allow ourselves to be so mean to ourselves? Well, because I'll tell you, and especially our students in the room, I want you to listen very clear that sadly we have a society where it's cool to be insecure. We have bred a society where you are told you are not enough so you can go buy something or do something to make you feel like enough. And that's not true. You do not need a certain looking body, a certain car, a certain clothes to feel good about yourself. You can love yourself as is the way you are right now. And it's difficult, though, because that kid has been torn down so much by you. You've been beating it up, saying mean things that it doesn't believe you when you say something nice once. You'll be like, okay, I saw this little guy in a wheelchair, and he said to be good to myself. I'm going to try it for this afternoon only. So you say, I'm thin. And you look in the mirror and you go, I'm not. He lied. I knew this positive stuff was a bunch of garbage, right? Well, listen, it's about repetition. How many times do you shower and bathe a week? Hopefully several, right? Why? Why can't you just be like, it's 2011, I'm going to take one shower and I'm good to go? Why? Because life gets you dirty. Same thing with our psyche. Same thing with our beliefs and our mindset and our internal voice. We have to be good to ourselves. And it comes down to the words that we choose. Words are not just letters squeezed together. Words are packages of emotion. You know, medical doctor Deepak Chopra said that the unconscious mind, our little voice inside our head, eavesdrops on our immune system. So the immune system is constantly eavesdropping on the unconscious mind. That means that how you talk to yourself and how healthy you are related. That the unconscious mind, that little voice, has power over our immune system, our T cell count. You have to be good to yourself through the words that you use. I saw this experience very clearly. The words have power over us. When I was speaking to an audience not too long ago, and there was this woman in the audience. It was at a school. She had a big mom visitor pass, right? And she was taking notes through the whole program. And then after the program ended, she scurried out the back door, and I never got to meet her in person. But I got a telephone call from her. Let me invite you in on that call. Sean? Yeah, what's going on? Sean, you don't know me, but I was recently in your audience, and I saw you up on stage, and I thought, wow, you know, he's so confident, so powerful, and yet you looked so... I said, time out. I know what you thought. You thought I looked sexy. It's okay. It's normal. It's very normal. She said, Sean, I was going to say different. I mean, you're so tiny and in that wheelchair, and yet people look up to you. How do you do that? I said, I'm happy to tell you how, but why is it important to you? She said, Sean, well, what you don't know is my daughter was in the audience when you spoke, and she's in 3rd grade. She comes home every day crying from school. Her classmates call her weird and different because my daughter was born with a rare condition where her fingers are grown together and her hands are web-like, like frogs. And I want to know, is there anything I can do, anything I could say to make her feel good about herself? Before I could give it much thought, something just blurted out of me. I said, can I talk to your daughter? She said, oh, that would be great. Let me go get her. Now, she puts the phone down. My heart is now racing out of my chest. I'm thinking, this girl is thousands of miles away now, and I'm going to tell her something over the phone to make her feel good about herself? Way to go, motivational man! What did you get yourself into? But then all of a sudden, I heard an adorable little voice that made all my insecurities and anxieties melt away. Hello? I said, hey, darling, how are you? I'm all right. Just all right? Well, what's going on? My hands, they look like frogs. And people call me weird and different. I have a question. Are you ready? Okay. When people meet you, do they remember you? Yeah. Everybody remembers me. I said, then you're not weird. You're not different. You're memorable. And she goes, I am? I'm memorable? I said, that's right, sweetheart. And she goes, oh, cool. She answers the phone to her mom. She ran around this house, screaming at the top of their lungs, I'm memorable, I'm memorable. Her mom got on the phone and said, what did you just do to my daughter? I said, I don't know, but why don't you call me back in a couple of weeks and tell me how she's doing? Click. I got to thinking between that phone call and the next one that I received from that mother about our voice that lives inside of our head, that little voice in all of us. And what do we do to that voice? You know, most of us are ignoring that child that lives inside of us, or beating that child up, or tearing it down. And there's different ways that we go about it. Some of us, we like to just numb the child out, just kind of put it on a timeout. And here's how we do it. We go to the kitchen. Oh, yeah, we get to the refrigerator, yeah? And you open up that door and that light comes on, and it's like light from God. and we get our favorite food, and you're like, oh, there you are. Yeah, you're gonna get it tonight. Ooh. Just go to night-night, little 5-year-old inside my head, yay. Oh, no, no, not everybody in the room, so don't think you're getting away with something here. Some of you, it's not food, no. You choose more of a liquid diet to deal with this thing, right? Well, my doctor said that I need the antioxidants in my glass of wine. Yeah, 1 glass of wine here, right? Not 12, okay? You know when you're carrying the bottle and the glass, that's a problem. But you know what? Some of you, again, I didn't hit it. No, no, no. You choose more of a, you like to light things on fire. And you get your little club together, right? And you're like, hey, psst, come here, come here. You want to smoke with me? It's okay, they don't get us. They're mean and they got laws. It's my freedom, right? Some of you, no, you choose harder drugs. Some of you choose mindlessly watching television for hours. Look, I like Dancing with the Stars, but it's not gonna help you, okay? You're not getting any better of a dancer, I promise you. Some of you watch YouTube for hours. Some of you do many different things to just veg out, numb out. Don't spend any time with yourself. And sadly, some humans, that child is so destructive because it's been ignored for so long that you said, that's it, I'm done with you, and you take your own life. I don't want that for any of you, especially you students in the back. I don't want our society to have to lose another human being because they didn't realize all they needed to do was hang in there, love themselves, and find a vision that makes them excited to be alive. The phone rang again. This time the woman is absolutely hysterical. Sean, you are never gonna believe this. I say, what's going on? Calm down. She said, my daughter is so confident now. She marched up to all of her classmates and said, hey, I'm not weird, I'm not different, I'm memorable, and you're gonna remember me for the rest of your life. So I ask you, by just changing one word from weird to memorable, can it really make that big of a difference? You better believe it. So I want to know, what are all the words you're using to talk to yourself? When you get up in the morning, do you look in the mirror and go, yes, I'm sexy, woo! Or do you go, oh man, that's not supposed to jiggle? Oh man. What are you saying to yourselves? You have to love yourself. You have to be good to yourself. So there I am, South Lawn. The guards are running after me. The President of the United States steps out, and he looks at me, and he says, Sean, good to see you, buddy. Sean, would you like me to wheel you into the White House today? I said, Mr. President, that would be an honor. He comes down out of the helicopter. Now the President of the United States is wheeling me towards the South Lawn entrance. Now this whole time, I had seen my boss, my superior, in the top window, banging on the window going, John, no! I said, Mr. President, that's my boss. And my boss went, Sean, hey, buddy, hey, hey. And now the President of the United States is wheeling me, and as if by magic, the South Lawn doors open, and I hear, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Look, you work in healthcare. You have hospitals where You see pain and suffering, and you see death. I am not here to lecture you on how precious life is. You know that. But I'm here to remind you, life is so precious. I want you to take at least one of the elements that you learned in my talk today. I want you to teach it to somebody you love, a family member, a friend, a classmate, somebody in your life. If you could do that, then it was worth my time. Thank you very much. God bless. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. Thank you.
Haven't we been lucky? Thank you so much, Dr. Sean Stephenson. I know that you've helped us all to be the best we can be, to think about our own personal vision and know the difference we can make when we're driven by that vision. Thank you so much, Sean.
Thank you. Thank you.